Greetings, I'm John O'Toole. I wanted to share with you on how to do multi-video or multi-camera video editing in Adobe Premiere. Now I have the latest version of Video Premiere off the cloud, because that's what you have a choice of these days, unless you've got it a long time ago when it was just a program. So it's a little quirky, and I want to explain to you on how I do it. And there are a lot of videos out there that explain how they do it, and I learned from there, and then I learned myself. But I wanted to show you some of the really quirky stuff, just so that when you try it yourself, you'll say, oh, that's why that happens. If, of course, you're using Adobe Premiere. Now, there aren't a lot of programs that allow you to do multi-camera edits. The more expensive programs, of course, do it. I don't know, I haven't researched them all, but I know that I learned on Final Cut Pro that runs on the iMac, and I thought that was a really easy way to do it. So using it on the Premiere is a little challenging compared to the two. Now, the reason to do a multi-camera, if possible, now you have a camera and that you use to shoot most of your video on, but if you have another camera like your cell phone, your smartphone, you could put that into a bracket. There's a bracket, it's kind of like this, that grabs your cell phone, holds it in the lengthwise way so that you're in the landscape position, not the vertical way, because then you're going to end up with the bars on both sides of the screen, and if you're doing multiple cameras, it can kind of look kind of sloppy. Or if you have a still camera, often those also have the ability to shoot video. You may not be able to record, and that's kind of a problem if you can't record, but it's not the end of the world. Now, one of the things that you might want to do is, the easiest thing to do is to line up all your cameras so that they can see you holding your hands, and you could do a clap. The other thing you could get is a clapper board. Kind of like this one, that you can hold up where all your cameras can see you, and you can go, and that gives you a pulse in which your program will be able to see that spike. Now, the other point of the spike is that you can see it when you're looking at your video, and you can put a marker, and I think all the programs, if you hit M, you get a marker at that point, so that you can use the markers to line up the video, or your software will look at that marker if you tell it to, and it will then go and line up your videos to that marker. So you can line up your videos using sound, and you can line them up using the marker. You can use it, line up the video for time also. Well, I just tend to, when I start to get close to starting my production, I start hitting record on all my cameras. So they're kind of all over the place on the starts of them all. So using the clapper or my hands to signify a starting of the production helps me a lot in setting it up. Now, some programs will actually look at your camera's audio and line up the different waveforms to do it too, but it's not a real accurate way, and you might tend to see this and then the voice comes afterwards, so, or before it, and yeah, that, when you see that, that's why you want to check your video, and if it does that, you got to start over before you get too far into your editing. So I wanted to do, now the other thing that happens too, I haven't got a workaround about it yet, is that on the iMac, when I would bring my video in and load it onto the iMac, it would stitch together the videos. And what I mean by that is that it records in like 22 minutes at a time. And then it records another 22 minutes, and it will have file 0, file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, all the way up for as long as your video is. And they're broken up into pieces, and it's an interesting thing that it does. And the program on the iMac, Final Cut, kind of stitches them all together, so you end up with one video for that camera, which makes it a lot easier in editing. Now, unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to put them together for Premiere Pro, and I haven't really seen anybody talk about it. So, and I don't know how to totally explain it as a search to figure out if there's a way to fix that before I start. So there's a couple of options to do. You could take your video for, say, camera 1 and put them all on your timeline, all stuck together, and then export it and put it into a video, and then do that for all your cameras. And then now you have, say 3 videos that you can re-import to your Premiere to create your sequence to edit. Or you can just do each section at a time. Now, the first time, I've actually only done a few of these, but I've learned a lot in the process. So you could do it that way, but it ends up getting a little finicky when you do it that way. Particularly if, particularly if it gets really like a long video. I did that when I did my building the computer on the later versions. I had a camera here where you're watching me right now, and then I had a camera over here looking at the computer, which was over here on a chair, and then I had my lights kind of around it to light up the thing. I thought, but that's kind of the way I had it set up. And then I would do is bring them together. I also had a third camera over my shoulder that I was going to use for another project, and I wanted to record me recording the video. I didn't end up actually using that video, but at least if I recorded it, I had it. That way you don't have to go back and recreate it. Now, a lot of shows, TV shows for example, and they say that they'll film an hour show in 12 hours. It's because they have to keep shooting the same scene over and over again so that they can get the different camera angles. So you got Gibbs, you got a camera on Gibbs. It's going to be in the view if they try to shoot Ellie. So Ellie, when Ellie talks, she's on camera, and then nobody else is on camera, and then in the end they put it all together, and they have a really good soundtrack that they can go off of. Well, I'm just a one-man band here, so I'm using multiple cameras to get the same image. Like when I do my tarot card reading, I have a camera on me, I have a camera on the card that I hold up, and then I have a camera that's shot way up high. I have it on my large tripod that can go up to about 7 feet, shooting down at the table, and I have those 3, and then I cut back and forth as I go along, but all of them are being recorded at the same time, and that's kind of what I do. If I'm going to shoot fireworks, I bring everything with me. I think about how I'm going to lay it out. Pre-planning is always good. If you think you can only shoot with one camera, you think about a way of shooting with 2 cameras. Or you can have one camera zoomed in and the other camera, or one camera with the wide angle, which I have a wide angle camera lens on right now, and a regular lens that's not going to be so wide, and it's going to get you a tighter picture. It depends. So you just kind of plan things out and figure out what's going to work best for you. pre-planning a video is a great way to produce an awesome video. And many of the really good creators on YouTube, for example, as you know, most of my stuff goes up onto a community-based TV show on cable, but everything that I produce there gets sent over to YouTube. So, it's already 10 minutes and all I do is gab. So, I wanted to show you a little bit about editing with Adobe Premiere, because somebody out there is thinking about this, and perhaps they're not so far along yet. And of course, I didn't clear off my table completely because I didn't plan it. It was just kind of something I was thinking about doing. So let's see how well this works. Now, I don't have a screen capture yet on the new computer, and that's something that I'm going to have to purchase. Before, I was using a Filmora screen capture, but it would only let me use it on only one monitor and not both monitors, which is kind of a nuisance. So this is called Pass the Salt. And this is the what I just produced. And this is all my stuff that I used to create it. I got all my different title pages that I built in Photoshop. All my leg pictures are over here. The ones that I downloaded, and then the ones that I created in Photoshop to put up onto the video. And as much planning you can do ahead of time, the better you can. Now, these two programs here are from the camera. This was my front version of Cam 1, and it's also where I have the good microphone installed. The Rode microphone is on this camera. And the second camera was a side view. So this gives me the option to cut back and forth between myself on two different angles to not have as many jump cuts. Because the jump cuts is where if you shoot it from the front, the image jumps back and forth. So here's the videos that I took. In each video, 20 minutes. So it's 20 minutes each, and not and then the last one was 41, but there was 41 seconds. It's not really anything on them. So I really only use them. So after you've loaded up, you gotta want to change your names to signify your angle. You call it the angle, and then you also count it out. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So this will help you down the road, because the numbering system in the cameras that I have are the same on all three cameras. So if I were to load in my next camera, they're going to have the same file name. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and open up a new project. Now I have a technical problem with my second screen, that it thinks that the screen is a lot bigger than it is. So I can't get down below here to the execute command, the OK or whatever it is. So I'm going to call this example. Name of and then I'm going to have to drag it over to my other screen so that I can get to the OK prompt. It's a quirky thing going on, and I don't have a solution for it. It's either that the monitor is too old and it can't communicate with the new graphics card, or it's something else. So here we are. This is Premiere. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the media browser, and we're going to bring over, and this is the cool part, because I have the two monitors, instead of going in here and searching for it, in here I could just drag it over from my other monitor. So I can grab the other monitor, like, got front cam 1, audio 0. I'm going to hold down the button and I'm going to pull it along like this. And then I'm going to drop it into this folder. And then I'm going to go to the other folder and grab the 0 sequence for that one and drop it in. Alright, so this is the first one of my narration of my video. And I have, this is the side. Let's see, move this over. See the whole thing. Alright. That's 20 minutes ishy. 20 minutes ishy. So now what you're going to do is deselect it. You're going to right click and you're going to create a new bin. Now you want to call this new bin something to do with your project, because you're going to have more than one bin. So you're going to call it, so you can call this anything you want, but I'm going to call it multi one, or actually 0, because it's, okay, it's multi 0, and that's going to be a bin. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, and you could use the shift key to mark them both, or you can grab them individually, and you're going to bring them up and drop them in, just like that. And now inside the bin is these two folders. So now what you're going to do is take your multi-bin, 0, and you're going to right click on it, and you're going to go to here. It's going to say create multi-camera source sequence. And you're going to do that, and it's going to bring up a window. And now here you are, and these are your places where you can do it. Now you have different options. You can do a marker. If you've done a marker, if you weren't sure about the clap, or say you tried the clap and it didn't work right, you're going to delete it, so start over, go back and look at your video and put a marker in where the start of the video is. So then you're going to hit the end point as an option, like that. But we're not going to use that. We're going to use audio because we have that clapper in place. And you want to go up here and change your name to reflect your video. We're going to call it Multicam 0. And it's for a multi-0 bin. And we have our videos, the 0 for each camera. Now, again, I can't get to the bottom of this, unfortunately. So I gotta drag this over here to my other monitor, and if someone out there has an idea for this, I would love to hear it. I'm gonna hit OK. It's gonna process it. And now we got the process clips, and this is actually the file now that's merged those two cameras together. Okay? And what we're going to do on only the first one is that we're going to do is select it, right click, and say new sequence from clip. And this will do is it will put it on the timeline for you. And then here you are. Move this over. Now what you need to do is come up here and select this button. And then you're going to toggle this to go to a multicam view. And if you don't have this in your toolbar, you hit the plus button, and then you have all these options that you can put on your bar for you that you're going to access on a regular basis. You can highlight it, it'll tell you kind of what they are. Okay, so we already have it, so we're going to select it. Now that's going to put your different views. Now we only have 2 views, but if we had 4, then they'd be down here. And you can go up to, I think, I'm not sure, I think it's like 27 or so. You could look it up if you really want to know. I only have 3 or 4 cameras, so that's all I'm going to be doing. So, as you bring this across, you're going to see it. Now, I of course hit the camera to record, and then I messed around a lot because I couldn't quite get my camera line up right, and I wanted to do it from the chair. So I hit record on both cameras, and I kept fudging around, as you can see. So now, you might have a desire that once you find the start of a video is to do a cut. But you don't want to do that, because what will happen is it will change your auto. So basically what you're going to be doing throughout the video is going back and forth between the 2 things. And you're going to keep choosing the different angles as it plays through. And then if you see something that you want to delete, you want to see like, 10 seconds or so, like for example, I'll get up and shake my booty for a little bit, and then I'll sit down again. Well, of course, I don't want that on the screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit the marker button. So right now, we want to bring the start of the video up to the start of the recording. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to come in here with the grab bar, and make sure you have both. You got to make sure you always have both the sound and the video selected at the same time, because sometimes you're going to grab the video and you're not going to get the sound, and then all of a sudden you're going to be out of sequence, and you're going to have to hit Control Z until you get back to where they're synced up again and start over. So we're going to do this, and we're going to keep doing it until we get to the start of the video. Now it seems kind of a nuisance to do it this way, but if you cut the line now, it takes away your auto sequencing of switching back and forth, and it will automatically put cuts for you. And then you'll have to do a cut on the line and switch the cameras yourself. So here you're going to hit play. Now you can use the JKL to move the playhead back and forth, or you can just hit this button and play it through. Greetings. My name is Reverend John O'Toole, And I'd like to share an experience with you that I recently had over the last 3 or 4 months. But in all reality, this experience has been going on in my life. So I don't want to talk over myself. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit. And as it's flowing through, you're going to be switching back and forth. And then, you know, get the different angles that you want to see show up. From my appearance here on TV, I'm kind of a large guy. Okay. So it's actually fairly simple. It's just basically, and you could stop it. Say there was something that you wanted to go back to, you could hit the M. And it will put a marker there, and then you could just keep on going and keep on editing until you're all done. And when you're all done with this sequence, you can go back and remove the section that you don't want to be in the video. Now the reason why you don't do it now is that you won't be able to do the switching back and forth as the head moves along. It'll stop that function. And it's an annoying thing, but I'm sure it has something to do with a new little tricky bug. I hadn't had the old version, so I don't know if it did in the old versions. Alright, so now the next thing comes up. Now you get all the way down, and you're at your end of this one, and you want to add on another clip. Well, we go back to the same process we were before. As a matter of fact, you can do it even better here, is that you can do is create your new bin, call it multi 1. Hit enter, and now you have a multi 1 as your next bin. You're going to go back over to your program. You're going to grab the next one, and you can just going to drop it right in from here. You don't have to drop it down here and then bring it up. And then you're going to go back to the other folder and grab that one, bring it over, and drop it in. Now they're already there. You're already at home free. Alright, now you're going to go up here. And you're going to create a multi-sequence. Now I leave it on audio because it's already going to be lining up with the existing audio that you already set up. And they should be pretty close now because they both cut at the same point in the recording. Unfortunately, I have to drag it over here to hit OK. And then you have it. Now, the way that I learned it in the different classes I was looking at, it says to do the same thing. Select it, right click on it, new sequence clip. Now if you collect new sequence clip, let me show you what happens. Now look, here's the new one we just created. Here's the beginning of the timeline. And where did your video go that we just worked so hard on? It's gone. And needless to say, when this happened to me the first time, I freaked out a little bit. You hit Control Z. Hopefully get that back. There it is. Then you have a relief. You feel all relieved. The fact that you didn't lose something you just spent an hour tweaking. Yeah, it's only 20 minutes long, but you spend some time on it to make everything look cool. So instead of doing that right click, what you want to do is go and take this one and just drag it over and drop it in right there. And there you have your next sequence. And then you bring your timeline over. For my days of 30 years of servicing printers and copiers, and then we bring it down. And not taking care of my health. Very often. Now there's a little bit of goofiness there and there. So you're going to play around with it and get it to line up properly. So you're going to lose that video. So you're going to want to switch that over. Now the thing I wanted to share you too is that if you have to cut something out, you want to make sure that you flip over. So when you look down your line, it should be, for example, front, side, front, side, front, side, front, side, and that'll eliminate jump cuts. Because if you take out a piece of film, a piece of recording, and you have front and front up against each other, your subject is going to jump on the screen if they're moving around at all. And that's what's nice about doing it this way, is that you eliminate the jump cuts, which really tend to drive, people up the wall when they watch a video. So you just have to play around with these connections so that it's right. Now if you're on this part here, and you go to the next sequence, now what you just have to do is pull this over, pull that over, so that when you go from one side to the other, you're all right. But what you're going to do is you're going to flip this side here, so people aren't going to notice the line. And that's essentially how you do it. And then you just go in and you do your regular editing like you do normally, and everything will work out fine. Now, I had some issues with my green screen, and I think it was because I was too close. I had my chair too close to the screen, and I need to pull it further away of the screen, out probably at least 1.5 to 2 feet, so I don't have a discernment. But that's a whole other video. So now that you see the advantages of you're shooting with 2 cameras. Now if you're doing this on an editor that doesn't have these features, you're going to have to line up those 2 different cameras manually by setting in markers on both different shots or videos, and then lining up your markers and then cutting out the different sections that you want to flip back and forth. It's very doable. It's just a little bit more time consuming. So, too close, too close. This camera goes back further. There we go. Much better. So there you go. It's a pretty simple process to do it. And I'm telling you, you'll have a lot more fun creating video when you can shoot multiple video at the same time. Say you're doing a parade, for example. There's a parade coming up in a couple of weeks, Founders Parade in Lee. And you can have multiple cameras set up while you're in one position. And as you remember, my Veterans Day parade video that I did back in November. I have one up high on a tripod shooting down the street. I had one, I think it was on a cardboard box on the ground in the shoe skateboard mount, which is that U-shaped mount with the handle on it. And then I had another one facing this way to get the parade walking by, as if you were standing on the side of the road watching it go by, with all the flags in the center flying. Go back and watch that video. It's really worth it. Veterans Day Parade 2018. And you'll kind of see the three different reasons to an option for doing video. So, 38 minutes in, and I think I'll probably chop out a whole bunch. But anywho, keep on filming and make some great movies. Ta-ta. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.